In this video, we're going to be checking out the Jada Toys die-cast metals. This is the Batman v Superman Batmobile, along with Batman. Let's grab the tape measure. Batfleck, Ben Affleck's Batman, is 3 inches tall, so about the same height as the other figures. We'll do some comparisons after anyways. We'll bring the Batmobile around. Let's get some measurements going for that. If you count like this end tip wing to the front of almost like the Gatling guns, the Batmobile is at approximately 8.5 inches, and height-wise, it's about 3.5 inches, give or take about 3 inches or so. One of my new favorite Batmobiles, I have to admit. When I initially saw the images of this particular Batmobile, it was of, and maybe you guys can agree with me, it was of this weird angle. Let me see if I can actually depict how this looked. It was kind of like, I guess kind of like that, and Batman was kind of brooding down, or maybe the image was on its own and then somebody just added it. But looking at it like this, I honestly thought to myself, what are they doing with this Batmobile? It looks like a tank. Did not like the look of it. Then we actually saw some more actual images of it, and then we actually saw it, of course, in the movie itself. And I absolutely adore this Batmobile. I love it. I might even say it's one of my new all-time favorites. I think I like this more than I like the Tumbler. And I was a big Tumbler fan when the Dark Knight movies first came out from Nolan. Really liked that Batmobile. But I always kind of thought to myself, I wish that Batman would actually have a Batmobile that just looked sleek and it didn't look so military-like. This is kind of like, for me, the combination, if I was to take like the Tumbler, a lot of the back aspects look very much like the Tumbler, and I took aspects of the '89 Batmobile, mainly this area right here. It's kind of like the love child between those two Batmobiles. And the end result is this beautiful looking vehicle. Now, it got slightly totaled in Batman v Superman. And in Justice League, he's getting an upgraded tweak to it. Still not really sure of how I like the updated design, because I think one side, basically this one side is windshield. This other side has like a Gatling gun on the top. I think it's a little bit too much. Gosh, I love this Batmobile so much. Now, Jada Toys did release this one technically before, and I'm just going to put this one, right here. Reaching off camera, not banging anything in the process, they did release this Batmobile. And if you saw the review of it, this particular Batmobile was one that you actually had to put together. It came in like parts, so like the tires and everything else you had to put together, and you got this Batmobile. Now, if I'm looking at the two, there's not much difference between the two, other than the fact that, and I might be wrong looking at this, this one looks like it's got slightly more defined lines than this one right here. I mean, again, I could just be picking stuff, out of nowhere, but the mold is exactly the same, but I feel like this one is a slightly more detailed Batmobile. Now, this one had the front gun turrets that rotated. I didn't actually check this one yet. This one does, yeah, this one does rotate as well. So if you didn't get a chance to build your very own Batmobile, you can certainly go with this one here, where it's basically the exact same vehicle, just of course you're incorporating a Batman. And let's actually segue ourselves to Batman, which, looks actually pretty good. More favoring a silver, it seems, than a gray. I like the cowl sculpt, and it doesn't look like you can move the head unlike you could with the Dark Knight Batman. He is all metal, so you wouldn't be able to fit him into the cockpit area of the Batmobile. And he does have a rubbery cape like the other Batmans. And we'll do some comparisons of that in a second. But a decent looking Batman, really, for its size. Like the utility belt. Again, good sculpt on the figure. Can't really do too much with it, but ultimately my plan is just to kind of have the Batmobiles on a shelf, and then the corresponding Batmans in front of them. I think that would look quite nice. But all around, decent looking Batman, I have to admit. Kind of like also that his head is slightly tilted to the side, so you can kind of have him brooding off to the side as opposed to looking straight on. Okay, so we'll just put him right there. not really much to be touched on for this Batmobile if we've already looked at it. And again, this one just being identical. You know, it's probably the exact same model. I'm just, obviously it's the same mold. I'm just thinking that it looks a little bit more defined, but it could just be me again, like looking for something that's probably not there. So we'll just move this one out of the way. I just put it over there. Again, some really nice details on them. On the Batmobile here. The tires feel like they are rubber, and as well as the back tires here. This is basically where the back area reminds me of the Tumbler. Very much a Tumbler looking design here. I love the little flaps on the top, and again, I think they hint that these move in the Justice League movie, because there's a couple of the Justice League Batmobile here. Images of some of the vehicles that they got slated for release for toys, and it looks like these flaps move, or they have moved outward. It doesn't really do too much of that in the Batman v Superman movie. Doesn't do that either in the in Suicide Squad, where the Batmobile makes a brief cameo. I like the gray as opposed to a black Batmobile. It's a nice change. I mean, a lot of people favor a black Batmobile, but you know what, I like the change of pace, giving it more gray, because it kind of goes well with the gray coloring of Batman's outfit. Again, you got the Gatling guns on the front, some little vents on the sides. I like how the front tires are covered. They kind of have a front cap to them, as well as the same could be said kind of for the sides of the tires here as well. Now, like the other Batmobiles, you can open this. It's a little tricky, I have to admit, because it is such an enclosed canopy that you have to kind of get your finger. The easiest way I find is trying to grab it in the middle here. Get your finger in there. Sometimes you might need actually like a screwdriver. And long nails certainly would help a lot better. Unfortunately, I just already cut my nails, so I can't. Let's see if we can get our fingers in there. There we go. Oh, almost, almost, almost. There we go. All right, so you lift the canopy up, and when it comes up, it actually slightly angles itself, slightly fans itself outward. And there's the interior of the Batmobile. And you know what, while we're at it, I just finished reaching off camera to put it away. While we're at it, I have not looked at this myself yet. Let's see if we can open up this one. Now this one I've actually opened more repeatedly, so it should be a little easier to open. Again, much more enclosed, a little more difficult to get to. I'm just curious myself as to whether the interior is exactly the same. And from the looks of it, yeah, it does look like everything is exact mirror copies to one another, complete with the orange in the back of the seat. And you've got the little silver little pipes there. Also could be said for this one as well. So yeah, they are exactly the same. Much like the other Batmans too, because he is a solid piece of metal, there's obviously no way that you can display him inside the Batmobile. But again, what I would likely do is just display them on the front or maybe on the sides of the Batmobile, just for show. Also, while we're at it, we're going to put this one right here. And we're going to put Ben Affleck's Batman right there. And reaching off camera, there is the tumbler. I have to kind of reach way off camera because I've got them over on the floor here. We'll just bring on the Batmobiles that we've already looked at. And lastly, there is classic TV series Batmobile with Adam West. Again, the only one I'm missing is the '89 Batmobile, but would love to get my hands on that as well. Generally, most of the vehicles, when you get them, kind of like the die-cast vehicles, they're usually like a 1/18 scale. These are a little bit smaller, but the good aspect of that too is because they are smaller, you can fit more of them on a shelf. They're not going to be taking up as much space. So I kind of like the fact that the Jada Toys ones are smaller in scale, because you get all the same details, but you just get them at a smaller size to accommodate, I think, a shelf a little bit easier. Of the three, I have to actually be honest, of the three, my favorite is the Batman v Superman Batmobile. Now, if you were to put that next to the 89 Batmobile, that might be a little harder of a one to compare to, because I really like the 89 Batmobile. But I have to say, though, I think one of my new favorite Batmobiles is the Batman v Superman Batmobile. Which is your favorite? Let me know down below. Do you like the classic series, covering by Adam West? Do you like the Tumbler the most? Or do you like the 89, or the, not the 89 because we don't have it, but do you like the Batman v Superman Batmobile? Let me know down below. If you guys are interested in picking these up for yourself, they are now currently available. They are now currently available as I reach off camera and put these to the side. You can also check out your local comic book store. That's a lot of times where I've been able to find some Jada toy releases. In the meantime, though, today we were checking out the Batman v Superman. Don't wheel away on me. Don't wheel away. We were looking at the Batman v Superman. This was the die-cast Batmobile from the folks over at Jada Toys. If you guys haven't had a chance to like this or to this channel, certainly hit that little subscribe button down below. And always appreciate when you guys hit that little like button. Let me know down below as well what you guys think of this Batmobile, as well as what you thought of the review in general. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.